Good morning. We're going to start Laches today. I think it's one of John's favorite. He talks about it a lot. And the introduction says, of all the dialogues, this is perhaps the easiest to read. The argument is clear, the characters come vividly to life, and nowhere is Socrates more delightfully present. So let us begin. Day 1 of Laches. Lysimachus speaking. You have seen the exhibition of the man fighting in armor, Nicias and Laches. But we did not tell you at the time the reason why my friend Melesias and I asked you to go with us and see him. I think that we may as well confess what this was, for we certainly ought not to have any reserve with you. Some laugh at the very notion of consulting others, and when they are asked will not say what they think. They guess at the wishes of the person who asks them, and answer according to his, and not according to their own opinion. But as we know that you are good judges, and will say exactly what you think, we have taken you into our counsels. I was just thinking about this yesterday. I have trouble. I feel guilty about this generally, because whomever I'm speaking to, I tend to take on their point of view, and so it seems as if I'm fickle, and if I'm just going along with whomever, like just guessing, trying to think what the other person wants me to say, and then saying that. But that's not. I genuinely. I was looking at not a debate, a conversation. John and Chris and two other people, also Chris and someone else, had, and every time anyone spoke, I was like, yes, that's the truth. Like that's why I was invited to join the debate team in school, but I could never do it because I don't know, I'm just really easy to convince. But as we know that you are good judges and will say exactly what you think, I am not a good judge, and I have no idea what I think. We have taken you into our counsels. The matter about which I am making all this preface is as follows. Melesias and I have each a son. That is his son, and he is named Thucydides, after his grandfather. And this is mine, who is also called after his grandfather, my father, Aristides. Now we are resolved to take the greatest care of the youths, and not, like most fathers, to let them do as they please when they are no longer children. But we mean to begin at once and do the utmost that we can for them. And knowing you to have sons of your own, we thought that you, of all men, were most likely to have attended to their training and improvement. And if perchance you have seldom given any thought to the subject, we may remind you that you ought to have done so, and would invite you to assist us in the fulfillment of a common duty. I will tell you, Nicias and Laches, even at the risk of being tedious, how we came to think of this. Melesias and I live together, and our sons live with us. And now, as I was saying at first, we are going to be open with you. Both of us often talk to the lads about the many noble deeds which our own fathers did in war and peace, in managing the affairs of the allies and those of the city. But neither of us has any deeds of his own which we can show. Take special times to make special men. The truth is that we are ashamed of this contrast being seen by them, and we blame our fathers for letting us be spoiled in the days of our youth, while they were occupied with the concerns of others. And we urge all this upon the lads, pointing out to them that they will not grow up to honor if they are rebellious and take no pains about themselves, but that if they take pains, they may, perhaps, become worthy of the names which they bear. They, on their part, promise to comply with our wishes, and our care is to discover what studies or pursuits are likely to be most improving to them. What studies or pursuits are likely to be most improving? Someone commended to us the art of fighting in armor, which he thought an excellent accomplishment for a young man to learn. And he praised the man whose exhibition you have seen and told us to go and see him, and we determined that we would go and get you to accompany us to see the sight, intending at the same time to ask you to advise us, and, if you wish, to share in our project for the education of our sons. Socrates is going to make a turn on that, which I really like. I remember. This is my second time reading this, I think, if my marks in the book are correct. That is the matter which we wanted to talk over with you, and we hope that you will give us your opinion about this art of fighting in armor, and about any other studies or pursuits which you would or would not recommend for a young man, and will tell us whether you would like to join in our proposal. Nicias. Well, as far as I am concerned, Lysimachus and Melesias, I applaud your purpose and will gladly join with you, and I believe that you, Laches, will be equally glad. Laches. Certainly, Nicias. I quite approve of the remark which Lysimachus made about his own father and the father of Melesias, and which is applicable not only to them, but to us, and to everyone who is occupied with public affairs. As he says, such persons are too apt to be negligent and careless of their own children and their private concerns. There is much truth in that remark of yours, Lysimachus. But why, besides consulting us, do you not consult our friend Socrates about the education of the youths? He is of the same deme with you, and is always passing his time in places where the youth have any noble study or pursuit, such as you are inquiring after. Lysimachus. Why, Laches? Has Socrates ever attended to matters of the sort? Certainly, Lysimachus. That I have the means of knowing as well as Laches. Nicias said this. For quite lately he supplied me with a teacher of music for my son, Damon, the pupil of Agathocles, who is the most accomplished man in every way, as well as a musician, and a companion of inestimable value for young men at their age. Lysimachus. Those who have reached my time of life, Socrates and Nicias and Laches, fall out of acquaintance with the young, because they are generally detained at home by old age. But you, O son of Sophroniscus, should let your fellow demesmen have the benefit of any advice which you are able to give. Moreover, I have a claim upon you as an old friend of your father, for he and I were always companions and friends, and to the hour of his death there never was a difference between us. And now it comes back to me at the mention of your name, but I have heard these lads talking to one another at home, and often speaking of Socrates in terms of the highest praise. But I have never thought to ask them whether the son of Sophroniscus was the person whom they meant. Tell me, my boys, whether this is the Socrates of whom you have often spoken. Certainly, father, this is he. So I'm guessing Socrates is somewhere in the middle of the fathers and the sons, age-wise. Lysimachus. I am delighted to hear, Socrates, that you maintain the name of your father, who was a most excellent man, and I further rejoice at the prospect of our family ties being renewed. Does jump out at me like all for the others complain that, oh, I wasn't able to live up to the standards that my daddy set. And then they say, oh, but Socrates, you were able to live up, to fill your father's shoes. Laches. Indeed, Lysimachus, you ought not to give him up, for I can assure you that I have seen him maintaining not only his father's, but also his country's name. Ooh, it goes even further. He was my companion in the retreat from Delium, and I can tell you that if others had only been like him, the honor of our country would have been upheld, and the great defeat would never have occurred. If only others were like him. We need the spirit of Socrates to return. That praise, Lysimachus speaking, that praise is truly honorable to you, Socrates, given as it is by witnesses entitled to all credit and for such qualities as those which they ascribe to you. So it takes one to know one. Let me tell you the pleasure which I feel in hearing of your fame, and I hope that you will regard me as one of your warmest friends. I hope that you will regard me as one of your warmest friends. You ought to have visited us long ago, and made yourself at home with us. But now, from this day forward, as we have at last found one another out, do as I say. Come and make acquaintance with me and with these young men, that you and yours may continue as my friends. I shall expect you to do so, and shall venture at some future time to remind you of your duty. But what say you all of the matter of which we are beginning to speak, the art of fighting in armor? Is that a practice in which the lad may be advantageously instructed? Socrates. I will endeavor to advise you, Lysimachus, as far as I can in this matter, and also in every way will comply with your wishes. But as I am younger and not so experienced, I think that I ought certainly to hear first what my elders have to say, and to learn of them, and if I have anything to add, then I may venture to give my opinion and advice to them as well as to you. Suppose, Nicias, that one or other of you begin. It's quite a long speech, and I have 2 minutes left, so I think we're going to call it a day. Good day.